aging, I'm just realizing all of that doesn't serve me, even though I want to be a mother and I have no regrets. I just feel like ultimately, having been asked to always sacrifice and put myself second to the
Mm,
family, I lost a lot of my personhood that I'm rediscovering and relearning. And I was trained to believe that any kind of self pursuit was counter to what I'm supposed to do as a
yes.
wife and a mother.
Yes.
And what I'm actually realizing is that the real truth is, by having sacrificed myself for so long,
Hmm.
I did a disservice to my children
Yeah.
because all they know, all they've seen is a submissive wife and mother. And ultimately, what I want them to see is a fully able person that has interests and pursuits just like they do.
Yeah.
They have parents that take them from soccer practice to tennis practice. My 5 young men that I'm raising are growing into their personhood,
Hmm.
and I want them to see that I, as a mother, am doing the same thing. I'm taking acting lessons, dance lessons, also trying to develop myself
Yeah.
as a person
Yeah.
and find out who I am. And I think that that's important for them to see, and that yes, being a mother is wonderful, but so is being a person.
Yeah.
And that I, as an individual, if I really foster my own self and my own personal growth, that only benefits the family. And I
Yeah.
wish that that had been the messaging. I wish that the messaging had been, if you can become the best person that you can be, then everybody benefits.
Yeah.
Whether you choose to have a career or become a mother and a wife, everybody will benefit if you develop yourself as a person. But instead, women are told to put themselves last and to be submissive and to be selfless. And I think that comes at a greater cost in the
Hmm.
long run.
Yeah.
And so that's my take on that.
Yeah, it's a very powerful take. You're right. I don't have much to add on that except for you need to watch The Handmaid's Tale, Ali.
I know you keep telling me
I've
that.
been trying to get Ali to watch this show, and it's like you need to watch the show or at least read the book.
Okay.
It has a book as well. It's quite
Is it similar?
interesting. It's
Mhm.
well, it's the blueprint, really. Don't know if I can even say it's extreme because looking at the past, what has happened, The Handmaid's Tale is not even an extreme. It's kind of like a caricature form of what used to be in the past. What is number
Number
three?
3 for me is that Black people were less valiant in the pre existent, and that is why they were denied the priesthood, access to all the benefits of the temple, the ceiling, everything that is related with,
Less valiant. What does that mean?
well, Evans. Basically, in the pre existence, there was a war in heaven. They were less valiant, and so because of that, they were given
Ah,
a different skin.
wait, as in they were losers?
They were probably on the fence. They were fence sitters.
Oh,
Maybe
right.
they didn't side. They were kind of like, Satan's plan, it sounds pretty good to me. And then some of them were probably like, Jesus's plan is a little bit better. I don't know which one I should choose.
I
And so
see.
they were on the fence. And so they ultimately went with Jesus's plan. So they were given permission to come down to earth. But because
Right.
they were kind of lukewarm, they were given a skin of blackness.
Oh, I
Now, that is
see.
one of many theories that are
Okay.
circulated
Okay.
about why Black people are Black.
Yeah.
Some of it was that they bore the curse of Cain. I wanted to read this quote from an LDS prophet,
Okay.
and this is going to tie into another one of the things that I believe that were crazy. Anyway, this is by the LDS prophet Harold B. Lee, and he said, "The privilege of obtaining a mortal body on this earth is seemingly so priceless that those in the spirit world, even though unfaithful or not valiant, were undoubtedly permitted to take mortal bodies, although under penalty of racial or
Oh.
physical or nationalistic limitations." Evans,
Okay.
what this means
What?
is that basically, if you are Black,
Mm-hmm.
if you are disabled,
Mm-hmm.
if you come from a third world country, it's your own fault. You basically were
Oh,
not
I
valiant
chose. Right.
in the pre earth life.
Yeah.
That's why you came down here in a crippled body. And that's
Yeah.
why you're black, Evans.
Ah, so I was sitting on the fence. I was like, I kind of like Jesus's plan because he's serving chicken and watermelon. But then,
And
Satan came with sponge cake and
then you
velvet,
were
and
like,
I was
"Oh,
like,
that
oh, that's
one,
kind of. I,
yeah,
I mean, I like cake, and I also like chicken and watermelon. So it's like,
yeah,
damn, man, like how?
yeah."
And then it's like,
But
oh, but I like
but
chicken and watermelon
Evans,
more, so I went with Jesus. And then
yeah,
it's like, yeah,
but
but you weren't really hardcore,
right.
so you're
But
black.
you see me, you see how my complexion is so pearly white and everything.
Yes.
I
Yes.
went for the chicken and watermelon. Like, I mean,
Like
I'm
straight
no
up, like
dummy.
you
I
you
was
you
like,
were like,
I'm not even considering the
you were like
cake.
chicken and watermelon
Yep,
today,
that
any
is what's
day.
going to happen. And I've got my white skin. And that is also why I was not born in a crippled body.
I
And it's also
see.
why I was not born in a third world country, because
Mm-hmm.
I made the right choices in the pre-earth
You
life.
chose the
And
chicken.
again, it's a ridiculous ideology that
You see,
we were
people,
taught.
this is why cake is bad. Like this is why cake is unhealthy. Because you be black.
So, what I wrote was that black people were somehow neutral in the war in heaven and that their skin color was a
Mm.
curse or a mark of lesser spiritual standing. This
Wow.
racist theology was taught from the pulpit for decades and used to justify excluding black men from the priesthood and black families from temple blessings until 1978. People were basically given the answer that we don't know why, God's ways are higher. But if you look back and you just do a little bit of research, you really don't even have to do very much. You can read the rhetoric, you can read the ideology. Like
Yeah.
I've shared in the past, their descriptions of how Black people were less intelligent, therefore, they needed to be servants and slaves. Here's another thing that baffled me when people say as the answer that, well, that was just at the time, that racist rhetoric was just what people were saying. Well, here's the thing: Brigham Young and Abraham Lincoln
Hmm.
were contemporaries. They were living at the same time and they were had access
Ah.
to the same things. I am supposed to believe that since Joseph Smith, God has spoken directly to man through his prophets. So,
Okay.
am I really supposed to believe that Brigham Young, the second prophet of the Mormon faith, was less inspired than Abraham Lincoln, who was
Yeah.
president of the United States? Evans, I just cannot swallow this anymore.
Oh
For
wow.
me, it's like Abraham Lincoln died. He sacrificed his life and
Yeah.
he fought for just as all the abolitionists of that same period were
Sure.
fighting. They recognized the personhood of people of color,
Yeah.
but the prophet of the Mormon faith did not.
Wow.
And I am
Wow.
supposed to believe that he was inspired.
Mm.
I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't say this to disparage the Mormon faith. I say this because it is wrong.
Yes.
And I get passionate about this because I have a black son.
Yeah.
And I will not have him reading that and believing that this faith is the true and only faith. And this same faith said awful, horrific things about my son just because of the color of his skin.
Yeah.
I will not stand by that. And I
Yeah.
will not have another person suffer or struggle or have any kind of a racist thought enter into their head because of this faith. And so for me, it
Oh
is
wow.
a
Yeah.
very sore topic.
Mm.
And although we're joking and we know that this is ridiculous,
Yeah.
it is what was taught.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
just can't circle my head around it anymore. And the mental gymnastics
Wow.
will not be played.
Yeah.
And I am a staunch advocate
Yeah.
for debunking any kind of God's ways are higher and we don't understand what was going. No, we
Oh,
understand
we know.
exactly what was going
We
on.
know.
Historically,
Yeah.
people were giving their lives
Mm.
to end slavery and to end racism for black people. And to this day, people are still
Yeah.
fighting
Yes.
and advocating for people of color. It's systemic. It has put people of color behind white people for
Yeah.
generations just in the United States alone. That's what I can speak to. And I am not going to believe for a second that God looked at them any different. So for me, that's insanity. And I will not believe in that ridiculous
Oh man,
rhetoric.
well put. In like spoken like a mama bear, like a true mama bear. You know,
Thank
like
you.
this is passion from Ali. Thank oh damn, like this the room is filled with smoke. Yeah, I need to have like an effect. Like the more you speak, the more smoke appears on the screen. Like whoa,
Yeah, don't mess with my baby.
don't do
Mm-mm.
that. Don't do that, guys.
Nope.
It's not advisable.
Nope.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I will come for you.
What I wanted to add